Every year, millions of people travel the world searching for adventure. Towering mountains, ancient forests, endless oceans, but there are places on Earth where taking just one wrong step could be your last. Some are too hot to survive, others hide deadly wildlife or dangers invisible to the human eye. These aren't places designed for visitors. They're places that remind us nature always has the final say. Today, we're exploring 10 places humans should never visit. Snake Island, Brazil. Just 35 kilometers off the coast of Brazil lies an island so dangerous that almost no one is allowed to set foot on it. Known as Snake Island, or Ilha de Queimada Grande, this small piece of land has become one of the most infamous places on Earth. At first glance, it looks like a tropical paradise. Dense green forests, rocky cliffs, crystal-clear waters. But hidden beneath the trees is a deadly secret. The island is home to the golden lancehead, a highly venomous pit viper found nowhere else on Earth. Isolated on the island for thousands of years, these snakes evolved without natural predators, allowing their population to grow in remarkable numbers. Their venom is incredibly potent, helping them quickly immobilize birds before they can fly away. Because of the danger, the Brazilian government strictly restricts access to the island. Only a small number of authorized scientists and researchers are permitted to visit, and even they follow rigorous safety procedures. For everyone else, Snake Island remains completely off-limits. It's a place that reminds us how nature can transform even the most beautiful landscape into one of the world's most dangerous environments. But our next destination isn't dangerous because of wildlife. It's dangerous because of the people who have lived there for thousands of years, and their determination to remain completely isolated from the modern world. North Sentinel Island, India. Far out in the Bay of Bengal lies an island unlike any other on Earth. North Sentinel Island appears peaceful from above. White sandy beaches, dense tropical forests, crystal-clear waters surrounding its untouched coastline. But appearances can be deceiving. The island is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last uncontacted indigenous peoples in the world. For thousands of years, they have lived in complete isolation, choosing to remain separate from modern civilization. Little is known about their language, culture, or way of life. And that's exactly how they want it. Throughout history, outsiders who attempted to approach the island have often been met with arrows and spears, making it clear that visitors are not welcome. To protect both the Sentinelese and those who might try to reach them, the Indian government has declared the island a protected exclusion zone. Entering its waters or attempting to land on the island is strictly prohibited. The goal isn't simply to keep people safe. It's also to preserve one of the world's last truly isolated communities from diseases and outside influences that could threaten their survival. In a world connected by satellites, smartphones, and the internet, North Sentinel Island remains one of the few places where modern civilization has never truly arrived. Sometimes, the most dangerous places aren't dangerous because of nature. They're dangerous because crossing a boundary can have consequences for everyone involved. But our next destination doesn't rely on isolation for its danger. Instead, the environment itself is so extreme that surviving there for long can become a battle against nature itself. Death Valley, United States. Imagine standing in a place where the air is so hot, it feels like you're breathing through an open oven. Welcome to Death Valley. Located in eastern California, this vast desert holds the record for the highest air temperature ever reliably recorded on Earth. On July 10, 1913, temperatures reached an astonishing 56.7 degrees Celsius, or 134 degrees Fahrenheit. Even today, summer temperatures regularly climb above 49 degrees Celsius, turning the landscape into a furnace. Rain is incredibly rare. In some years, not a single drop falls. The dry ground cracks beneath the relentless sun, while shimmering heat waves distort the horizon, creating mirages that can fool even experienced travelers. Without enough water, dehydration can begin surprisingly quickly. As the body loses fluids, exhaustion sets in. Confusion follows. And in the most severe cases, heat stroke can become fatal if medical help doesn't arrive in time. Yet despite these brutal conditions, life still exists here. Tiny desert plants bloom after rare rainstorms. Lizards sprint across scorching rocks. Coyotes, bighorn sheep, and insects have all adapted to survive where few others can. Death Valley isn't dangerous because something is hunting you. It's dangerous because nature itself pushes the human body beyond its limits. It's a place that reminds us. Sometimes the greatest threat isn't a predator. It's the environment around us. But if you think unbearable heat is terrifying, our next destination looks like another planet entirely. A place where boiling pools, poisonous gases, and rivers of acid create one of the harshest landscapes on Earth. Mariana Trench, now imagine descending into complete darkness. Far beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean lies the Mariana Trench, the deepest place on Earth. If Mount Everest were dropped into it, its summit would still remain more than 2 kilometers below the ocean's surface. At its deepest point, known as Challenger Deep, the trench plunges nearly 11 kilometers into the Earth. Sunlight never reaches these depths. The water pressure is almost unimaginable, more than 1,000 times greater than the atmospheric pressure at sea level. Enough to crush most submarines and instantly destroy an unprotected human body. The darkness is absolute, the silence is overwhelming, yet somehow, life exists here. Bizarre creatures with transparent skin, glowing bodies, and enormous jaws have adapted to survive in conditions once thought impossible. Many of these species remain so mysterious that scientists are still discovering new ones today. Reaching the bottom of the Mariana Trench is one of the greatest challenges in modern exploration. Fewer people have visited Challenger Deep than have walked on the surface of the Moon. Every expedition requires specially engineered submersibles capable of withstanding pressures that would flatten ordinary vehicles within seconds. The Mariana Trench reminds us how little we truly know about our own planet. More than 80% of the world's oceans remain unexplored. And hidden within those dark waters may be creatures unlike anything we've ever imagined. But while the deep ocean is naturally hostile, our next destination became dangerous because of human history. A place where an invisible threat still lingers decades after one of the worst nuclear disasters ever recorded. Chernobyl exclusion zone. Some places become dangerous because of nature, others because of human mistakes. On April 26, 1986, reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded, releasing massive amounts of radioactive material into the atmosphere. It became one of the worst nuclear disasters in human history. Within days, an entire city was abandoned. More than 100,000 people were forced to leave their homes, many believing they would return just a few days later. They never did. Today, the city of Pripyat remains frozen in time. Empty apartment buildings, silent schools, abandoned hospitals, a rusting Ferris wheel that never welcomed its first passengers. Although radiation levels have decreased in many areas over the decades, dangerous hotspots still exist. Invisible, odorless, completely undetectable without specialized equipment. Spending too much time in highly contaminated areas can expose the human body to dangerous levels of radiation, increasing the risk of serious health problems. Yet despite the disaster, nature has begun reclaiming what humans left behind. Wolves roam the empty streets. Wild horses graze through abandoned villages. Lynx, elk, and countless other animals now live in a landscape once dominated by people. It is one of the strangest places on Earth, a ghost city where wildlife has returned, but humanity never truly did. Chernobyl reminds us that some of the most dangerous places aren't always the ones we can see. Sometimes, the greatest danger is completely invisible. But if you think an abandoned city is terrifying, our next destination has been burning continuously for more than 50 years, and no one has been able to extinguish it. Door to Hell, Turkmenistan. Imagine standing at the edge of a giant crater, filled with fire that has never stopped burning. Welcome to the Door to Hell. Located in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, this enormous burning crater has become one of the world's most bizarre landmarks. The story began in 1971, when Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas. Without warning, the ground beneath their equipment collapsed, revealing a massive underground gas cavern. Fearing that dangerous methane gas would escape into the atmosphere, the team made a decision they believed would solve the problem. They set the crater on fire. The expectation was simple. The gas would burn for a few days, then go out, but it never did. More than 50 years later, the flames are still burning, day and night, summer and winter. The crater stretches roughly 70 meters across and reaches about 30 meters deep. Standing near its edge, the intense heat can be felt from several meters away. The air shimmers, the ground radiates warmth, and thousands of flames dance endlessly across the crater floor. At night, the sight becomes even more surreal. The desert sky glows orange, as if the earth itself has opened beneath your feet. Although visitors can observe the crater from a safe distance, getting too close to the unstable edge or breathing harmful gases can be extremely dangerous. The door to hell is a powerful reminder that even well-intentioned human decisions can have consequences lasting far longer than anyone could have imagined. But if you think a crater that's burned for decades is incredible, our next destination rises nearly 9 kilometers above sea level, where the air itself becomes too thin for the human body to survive for long. Mount Everest's death zone. Reaching the summit of Mount Everest is the dream of many climbers. Standing 8,849 meters above sea level, it is the highest point on Earth. But above an altitude of approximately 8,000 meters, the mountain enters a region known simply as the death zone. Here, the air contains only about 1/3 of the oxygen available at sea level. Every breath becomes a struggle. Every step demands enormous effort. The human body slowly begins to shut down. Without supplemental oxygen, survival becomes extremely limited. Even experienced climbers can suffer from altitude sickness, confusion, hallucinations, frostbite, and life-threatening swelling of the brain or lungs. Temperatures can plunge below -40 degrees Celsius. Powerful winds exceeding 160 kilometers per hour can arrive without warning. Snowstorms can erase climbing routes within minutes, and rescue missions are incredibly difficult. At these extreme altitudes, even carrying another person becomes nearly impossible. Many climbers who lose their lives on Everest remain on the mountain, preserved by the freezing temperatures. Some have become well-known landmarks along the climbing route, serving as silent reminders of the risks every expedition faces. Yet despite these dangers, hundreds of climbers attempt the summit every year, driven by determination, adventure, and the desire to stand on top of the world. Mount Everest proves that nature doesn't have to attack you to be deadly. Sometimes, simply existing in the wrong place is enough. But if surviving the highest place on Earth seems impossible, our final destination is even more unforgiving, a frozen wilderness so vast and isolated that even the smallest mistake can become a fight for survival. Lake Natron, Tanzania. At first glance, Lake Natron looks breathtaking. Its waters shimmer in shades of crimson, orange, and pink, creating one of the most beautiful landscapes in Africa. But beneath that beauty lies a deadly secret. Located in northern Tanzania, Lake Natron is one of the most alkaline lakes on Earth. Its waters can reach a pH of over 10, making them almost as caustic as household ammonia. Temperatures in the shallow lake can soar above 60 degrees Celsius, while minerals carried from nearby volcanic activity create a harsh environment that few creatures can survive. Animals that mistakenly enter the lake often don't survive. Over time, mineral deposits coat their bodies, leaving behind haunting, stone-like remains that have made Lake Natron famous around the world. It almost looks as though the lake turns animals into statues. Despite these extreme conditions, life has found a way to thrive. Lake Natron is the world's most important breeding ground for the lesser flamingo. More than 2 million flamingos gather here because the harsh alkaline water keeps many predators away, creating a surprisingly safe place to nest. What appears deadly to most animals becomes the perfect sanctuary for another. Lake Natron reminds us that nature often works in extraordinary ways. A place that seems completely uninhabitable can become essential for life. But if you think this eerie lake is frightening, our next destination takes us deeper than any human can naturally survive, into the darkest place on Earth. Antarctica at first glance, Antarctica looks peaceful. An endless landscape of brilliant white snow, towering glaciers, and silence stretching as far as the eye can see. But beneath that beauty lies one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. Antarctica is the coldest continent on the planet. During winter, temperatures in the interior can fall below degrees Celsius. Powerful katabatic winds race across the ice at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, creating blinding whiteouts that can erase the horizon in seconds. In these conditions, even experienced explorers can lose all sense of direction. A few minutes of exposure without proper protection can lead to frostbite. Longer exposure can become life-threatening, yet the cold isn't the only danger. The continent is so remote that rescue operations are incredibly difficult. If an emergency happens deep within Antarctica, help may be hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. And during the long polar winter, months of complete darkness make survival even more challenging. Despite these extreme conditions, Antarctica is home to remarkable wildlife. Emperor penguins endure freezing temperatures by huddling together for warmth. Weddell seals breathe through holes in thick sea ice. And beneath the frozen surface, strange marine life thrives in waters that remain near freezing all year round. Antarctica is a place of breathtaking beauty, but it is also a powerful reminder that nature does not need predators, poison, or volcanoes to be deadly. Sometimes, the environment alone is enough. It is one of the last true wildernesses on Earth, untamed, unforgiving, and almost impossible to conquer. Dallol, Ethiopia. Imagine stepping into a place that doesn't look real. The ground glows with yellows, greens, oranges, and reds. Steam rises from the earth. The air carries the sharp smell of sulfur. Welcome to Dallol. Hidden deep within Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, this surreal landscape is one of the most extreme environments on the planet. It is blisteringly hot, it is highly acidic, and it is filled with toxic gases, boiling springs, and mineral-rich pools that can burn or poison anything that comes too close. Some of the water here is so acidic that it can eat away at metal. The ground is unstable, shaped by volcanic activity beneath the surface. Crusts of salt and mineral deposits can hide dangerous pockets of heat and liquid below. One wrong step can be enough to put a person in serious danger. The heat alone is punishing. Temperatures often soar above 45 degrees Celsius or 113 degrees Fahrenheit, making even short exposure exhausting. Add poisonous fumes and corrosive water to the mix, and survival becomes even more difficult. Yet despite all of this, Dallol is breathtaking. Its alien colors and strange formations make it look less like Earth and more like a distant planet. Scientists study it because it may offer clues about how life can survive in the harshest conditions imaginable. And that is what makes Dallol so fascinating. It is not just dangerous. It is a reminder that our planet still holds places so extreme, they seem almost impossible. But if this landscape feels like another world, our next destination takes us into the deep ocean. A place where darkness, pressure, and predators create one of the most terrifying environments on Earth. Our planet is filled with places that inspire wonder, but as we've seen today, some places demand more than curiosity. They demand respect, whether it's an island overrun by venomous snakes, a city abandoned after a nuclear disaster, or a frozen continent at the edge of the world. Each reminds us that Earth is still full of environments where humans are not in control. These extraordinary locations aren't simply dangerous. They're a testament to the incredible power of nature and to the limits of human survival. If you enjoyed this documentary, be sure to like the video, subscribe to Trillion Thoughts, and turn on notifications for more fascinating documentaries about wildlife, history, science, and the world's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous place on Earth is also the most beautiful.